Good evening, everyone. I'll call to order the regular meeting of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, June 12, 2025. I'd like to invite Terry Arnold, Bishop of the Pentecostal of East Ridge, forward, provide our invocation, and lead us in our pledge. If everyone stand, if able.
Let's all pray together. Father, we're thankful tonight for your many blessings. Thank you, Lord, for this day that you've given us. Lord, we thank you for our city council tonight and the decisions that they make tonight, Lord, that will affect the people of our city. And we ask you, Lord, may they be decisions that are good for our people and for our city, for the welfare of our area, Lord. We thank you for their service to our city, and we're thankful, Lord, for your blessings upon all of us tonight. We ask you, Lord, to be with them tonight, give them wisdom and direction. In the mighty name of Jesus we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Roll call, Ms. Dietrich.
Mayor Williams,
Here.
Vice Mayor Tyler,
Here.
Councilmember Cagle,
Here.
Councilmember Ezell,
Here.
Councilmember Witt,
Here.
City Manager Miller,
Here.
City Attorney Litchford.
Here.
All right, the first item we have is the milestone awards. This is where we actually recognize milestone service awards for our employees. We have Donald Rogers, Sanitation Department, for 30 years, and Will Johnson, the Police Department, for 10 years. We want to congratulate them, thank them for their dedicated service, as well as all of our employees. Without them, we would not be the city and have the services that we have, so we appreciate them. The next item is the consent agenda. It is the approval of the minutes from the May 22nd, 2025 council meeting and the April 2025 financial report. I assume everyone's had an opportunity to review those, and I'll entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Councilmember Witt and a second by Vice Mayor Tyler. Do we have any discussion or corrections? I see none. Roll call, Ms. Dietrich.
Vice Mayor Tyler,
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle,
Yes.
Councilmember Ezell,
Yes.
Councilmember Witt,
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Consent agenda approved. We'll move to the next item, which is communications from citizen. This is an opportunity for a citizen to come forward, address the council with any questions, concerns, or accolades. We do have, I believe, some signed in. First we have is Jane Sharp. Ma'am, I've got your name and already got your address. So.
I just want to thank y'all for your quick response to my request for a sign on my street. It's made a huge difference. I have not noticed any other construction vehicles flying down my street only to find that it's not a shortcut to Spring Creek Road. However, we're still having a backup on Spring Creek Road from the traffic light. I don't know how we're going to be able to fix that. At 5:39, there was 51 cars backed up at the traffic light, so we might need to do some additional things on directional, or I don't know, maybe we may just have to grit and bear it. But anyway, I wanted to give you my heartfelt thanks for responding to that so quickly. It's made a big difference. Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. The next we have is Steve Leach. Okay. That's all we have that is actually signed in, but if there's anyone else in the audience, this is your opportunity to come forward and address the council. I don't see anyone else, so I will move on to communications from council members. I'll start on this side. Councilmember Ezell.
I have nothing right now.
Councilmember Witt. Vice Mayor Tyler.
Yes, the East Ridge Optimist Club held their 12th annual fishing rodeo this past Saturday. We had about over 120, 130 kids show. It was a good time. The weather held out for us. Saw lots of smiles, lots of fish, and it was a great time. So I'd like to thank the East Ridge members of the East Ridge Optimist Club for their dedication and hard work to our community and the children in it. That's all I've got, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Cagle.
Only one thing, Miss Henson in her library board, she has been sick here for the last couple of weeks. Just like ask everybody to pray for her and her family.
Thank you, sir. All right, I have a few things. One is, we did have a great Optimus fishing rodeo. That was a great event. Also, in conjunction with that, we had Jump Into Safety by, I believe, our police department, and we had first responders there. I know we had Hamilton County EMS. We had Tennessee State Trooper. I popped in over there after we got done working at the fishing rodeo. It was a great event. Provided a lot of safety information and interaction with the community. So we appreciate that. Also, everyone may know, former Captain Mullinex recently passed away. He served our city of East Ridge and the East Ridge Police Department for over 27 years, leaving behind a legacy of leadership, mentorship, and unwavering dedication to the public as public service. His presence shaped our community, and his impact will be felt for generations to come. So we extend our heartfelt condolences to his family, his friends, and all that had the honor to know him. Some upcoming events. East Ridge Parks and Rec, we're very thrilled that we are going to have a 2 full days of festival fun at Camp Jordan Amphitheater. It'll be September the 27th from 10 to 5, September the 28th, 11 to 4. This year it's getting bigger and better every year, and we want everyone to be a part of it. So they've upgraded their vendor registration. You can go out to the East Ridge Parks and Rec website to register and look at the flyer, and there's a QR code. It's going to be a great event. Then the library, I always like to call them out. They have some great events always going on. So on the 14th, Saturday the 14th at 11, it's a Novel Idea Book Club. The month's pick is The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. Then on Wednesday, June the 18th, 3 p.m., Paint a Bear Workshop. Be able to actually stuff a bear, print it, name it, and then on the birth certificate. It's a free program. You'll need to call to register. Along with, on Saturday, June the 21st at 11 a.m. is Drawing with Mr. Alex. Learn how to draw yourself as a Funko Pop. Snacks will be provided. Those last two, registration, as I mentioned, is required, and you can call 423-867-7323. That's all that I have. I'll pass it to City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to provide a couple updates on some of our projects we're working on right now. The Multi-Purpose Events Center that is being constructed behind City Hall in the Community Center. That work is moving along progressively. However, we certainly don't need the rain delays that we've been getting. The month of May really hurt us as well as all other contractors in and around our area. The installation of the stone veneer to kind of get a feel for what the building's going to look like on the outside is completed on the west side. They will start next Monday on the east side to see the stonework going in. Framework is going in for the windows. The west low bay interior framing should be completed by the end of this week. That's the area on the west side for the kitchen, suites, bathrooms, and storage areas. And the east low bay interior framing will be starting next week in regard to the front part of the building that we see from the rear of City Hall. So the building is taking shape very nicely. They got the trusses up, and we'll be starting the decking a week from next Monday. They'll be starting the decking for the high bay steel. Second item I have is in regard to the expansion enhancement of the community center. That's being done by an LPRF grant, 50-50. However, we did put in a little more money because of the requirement to sprinkle the whole building. It's now being brought up to code. Notice to proceed will be issued later this month to the contractor Pillar Construction. Hopefully they'll start somewhere around the 7th to the 14th of July and then have 270 days to complete. The Recreation Department is closed now. They have moved their operations in twofold. Number one, their administration is over at the East Ridge Museum, and the recreation programs are held at the East Ridge United Methodist Church at Prater Road. So if you're a senior or you want to play ball or anything indoor, That's where to go, senior for, what do you call that? The
Senior fit.
senior fit. Sorry,
Exercise.
yes. Okay, and we'll be over there until the completion of the job, which would be 9 months from July. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. All right, we'll move to the next item, old business, ordinance number 1221.
An ordinance of the City Council for the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, to amend the zoning regulations and the zoning map of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, so as to rezone the property located at 6510 Ringo Road, tax map number 169L-M-017, and tax map number 169L-M-017.01 from C1 Tourism Commercial District to C4 Planned Commercial Center District.
Thank you, sir. This is the second reading. Yes, Mr. Howell.
Yes, Mayor and Council, just to quick recap on this one. This will be to support a mixed-use redevelopment project. The proposal includes demolishing the existing front motel building along Ringo Road to construct a 10,000 square foot retail strip center with 5 commercial suites, and to convert the 2 rear motel buildings into an 80-unit apartment complex featuring mixed-use efficiency and 1-bedroom units.
Thank you, sir. Council, I'll entertain a motion for ordinance number 1221.
Make a motion to accept ordinance number 1221.
Second.
A motion to approve by Councilmember Ezell and a second by Councilmember Witt. Do we have any discussion? See none. Roll call, Ms. Petrie.
Vice Mayor Tyler,
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle,
Yes.
Councilmember Ezell,
Yes.
Councilmember Witt,
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Ordinance number 1221 passed, second and final reading. We'll move to item B, ordinance number 1222.
An ordinance of the City Council for the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, to amend the zoning regulations and the zoning map of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, so as to rezone an unaddressed property tax map number 169E-D-008 from C4 Planned Commercial Center District to RZ-1 Zero Lot Line Residential District.
Thank you, sir. This is also second reading. Mr. Howell.
Yes, once again, Mayor and Council, this request to rezone would be approximately 10 acres inside the Gateway development from C4 to RZ1, aiming to construct 68 single-family homes on 0 lot line parcels. This is also adjacent to existing R1 single-family zone district. The proposed residential subdivision represents a down zoning from the previous plan area, creating a smoother transition of zoning.
Thank you, sir. Council, I'll entertain a motion for ordinance number 1222.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 1222.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Vice Mayor Tyler and a second by Councilmember Ezell. Do we have any discussion?
I do.
Yes, sir.
First off, is this in the 100-year flood zone?
It is.
So they're gonna have to raise it up?
Majority of the site's already been raised based on fill.
Okay, so it is, okay. I'm looking at the zoning history where they've been in front of us before. I'm assuming this was 2019.
I'm sorry, Mr. Cable, could you
I
repeat?
said I'm looking at the rezoning history of this thing before, and I'm assuming this was back in 2019, and on the RPA here, that we rezoned it from R1, R2, C2 to C4. Okay, so now they're back in front of us wanting to rezone it to RZ1. Now, with this, the way it was zoned for retail, residential, and commercial use. Okay.
Correct, yes, sorry.
So with the residential use in the R1, R2, and the C2, how are they gonna benefit off having it rezoned C4 versus the way it was rezoned from R1 to?
So the upgrade to that is quite a few more permitted uses within it. Is that what you're referring to, is how this will?
I've just got a problem with them coming in the first time, changing it from R1, R2 to C4. Now they're wanting to come back, change it from C4 to residential 1.
The original development plan on that, I think the C4 fit that proposed for that build out on that. So now that they've come back, what they're doing is, with the C4 itself, they're creating a better buffer zone in the back there as well, including by creating that RZ1, zero lot line. So, I mean, it's not really hampering this zoning at all as far as, I mean, you've just cleaned up the zoning for that area.
Or are they gonna, the way it was zoned before, if they'd built residential, it'd be in residential upstairs and commercial downstairs?
Yeah, and me and Mr. Custer talked about that. So yeah, I mean, it would have been, the C4 allows for apartments, townhomes, and condominiums. So condominiums have three flavors, I like to say. You have vertical, horizontal, and they can be, separated. That's not what's in their plan. They want to do a traditional, a subdivision in this area, not having a condominium area. So
they are gonna have to fill it some more.
I don't have the base flood elevations on that as of now. Like I said, majority of the site has been elevated. You can tell that from McCall Road where the new townhomes are built. There's several feet in the air.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
The drainage is in.
Yes. The drainage is in as well, yes.
So the infrastructure is already in and it's been turned into.
Now,
for-
I'm sorry, Mr. Cagle. That I can attest to. I don't know how far. I know that, like Mr. Miller was stating, the drainage, some of the infrastructure is in place right now. The applicant might be better suited to address that one.
I believe the primary drainage within that whole development has been established. There may be secondary drainage that needs to be put in for specific development, but your primary drainage is in.
Okay,
A lot of those that live in Lansdale Park have noted, at least over several years, that this has been constructed, has noted a significant relief in regard to flooding in their neighborhoods over harsh rains. That area does not flood anymore.
So this infrastructure has been turned in on the border region.
I don't know for sure. I'm not sure what was submitted at the one time that that the developers put or submit their. Do you know offhand, Diane?
Not without looking at them, going back and looking. Mr. Custer could answer that question, because he brings me the.
Most of the time, they do submit their annual expenses on an annual basis.
Well, evidently, I'm understanding it wrong then. I thought the expenses for the project, if it was, only thing could be turned in is what we could be drawing state taxes on, to where we could be getting our teetotal part instead of giving them their part and then taking part. So if they are turning in the initial cost of the 10+ acres plus the infrastructure into border region, and then they're getting part of the state tax that we're collecting now, that they, in my opinion, shouldn't be getting.
Well, they're getting 97 out of 100. We're getting 3% of the border
Yeah.
region, which is generated. However, they are able to put in their investments made during the year, that's their investment into the project.
So they're allowed to put in anything that, my understanding is it has to be, we're not gonna be drawing state taxes off of these R1
No,
residential houses.
you're not going to be.
So we're not gonna be getting 3%
No.
off of this 10 acre build site.
The only thing you're gonna get from the single-family residential or
Property
any kind of residential is property taxes. If it doesn't generate sales tax, we get no border region.
And they don't get the border region either, so they won't get the 97% on anything that they do there.
If they're turning it in, that's my question. Have they turned in the price of the 10 acres plus the infrastructure that they've done put in? Did they take that cost to turn it into the border region?
The only thing that I'm aware of that they put in for the border region is what they've done for the whole entire tract. If this is
That includes the 10 acres.
Okay.
You answered my question.
if it involved that, yeah, as far as the
Sure,
whole,
my
but
question.
once this is rezoned, it's residential, so they will have to exclude any kind of secondary drainage and infrastructure regarding the streets are not gonna be able to put in.
Mr. Custer, could you come up here and provide some insight for us?
Sorry, so I know with the Board of Regent, Mr. Cagle and I have talked about it, and it does get a little bit challenging, but if you look at it as a whole, as an aggregate with the 100 acres, right? So everything you spend within the 100 acres, whether that be stormwater, fill, any infrastructure, actually is included within the Board of Regent. Just when you do a rezone, that doesn't remove your parcel from the Board of Regent, but you can only get paid back based on the revenues that you generate. So this 10 acres is not going to generate revenue. However, the sewer, the water, the power is going to be fed from the main development, which is part of the overall development cost. Under the statute, it states in multiple places that you will have like incidental uses that will not generate Board of Regent dollars, but the project itself will. So some may not attract visitors, some may not attract, or generate the actual sales tax. So you're not going to generate there. Your costs can still be contributed to that, but you only get paid back on what your revenues are. So the idea of the Board of Regent, which we all know, nobody's ever probably going to be made completely whole on their entire development for that specific reason.
Sure, and this is because the development itself could not be completed without this infrastructure in place. So it is just a part of the larger development.
Yes,
what you're saying.
But
So it
you're
can be
not going to get the cost of like the housing and stuff like that. It's only the infrastructure, the roadways, everything ends up being like public elements that's attached to the entire development itself.
And the previous plan for this spot was office.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been office. There's several different things that just didn't make sense. But it made sense at the time. But for us, we've spent more time with neighbors. We've kind of listened to some community and protection. I mean, this body right here has done a lot to maintain continuity of existing neighborhoods. So that's an extension of what we're trying to do without putting some structures and things right along those edges.
Sure.
So by creating this better transitional zone, we'll create that better buffer between the existing Sherwood, Nottingham, Lansdale area to the rest of the development.
Sure, and the office space would have been used primarily for administrative and services, which are not covered under the Board of Regent as well.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. I'd also like to thank you for your willingness to engage with the community and your transparency with them. And I'd like to thank Mrs. Jane Sharp over there for wrangling up all the neighbors. I attended the meeting last night and I thought it was very good. I think you provided sufficient answers to all of the citizens over there, and I think everyone left that meeting by and large feeling much better about this development that's before us now and the transitional zoning that it presents. So thank you again for that.
Well, I appreciate it. Like I say, all I want to do is be able to communicate and, to the best of my ability to do that. And there is some ambiguity within the Board of Regent. We all know that. We've worked through several different things. Mr. Cagle, one thing you did, there is just probably less than 8 inches of fill that'll need to be just for the topping for that area over there, but still just a little bit left. I think 4 to 6 feet's already been applied over the last several years. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, roll call, Ms. Dietrich.
Vice Mayor Tyler,
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle,
No.
Councilmember Ezell,
Yes.
Councilmember Witt,
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Ordinance number 1222 passed second and final reading. We move to ordinance number 1223.
An ordinance of the City Council for the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, to amend the zoning regulations and the zoning map of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, so as to rezone property located at 6419 McCall Road, tax map number 169E-D-005, from R2 duplex district to C4 planned commerce center district.
Thank you, sir. This is second and final reading as well. Mr. Howell.
Yes, Mayor and Council, this is the last remaining parcel on McCall Road to be incorporated into the Gateway development. There is request to rezone the subject property from R2 district to or planned commercial district would allow it to be integrated into the broader commercial mixed use framework for the Gateway development.
Thank you, sir. Council, I'll entertain a motion for ordinance number 1223.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 1223.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Vice Mayor Tyler and a second by Councilmember Ezell. Do we have any discussion? See none. Roll call, Ms. Dietrich.
Vice Mayor Tyler,
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle,
Yes.
Councilmember Ezell,
Yes.
Councilmember Witt,
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes, ordinance number 1223 passed second and final reading. We'll move to new business. Item A is public hearing for ordinance number 1224.
This is the public hearing for ordinance 1224, which is an ordinance for the city council for the city of East Ridge, Tennessee, to amend the zoning regulations and the zoning map of the city of East Ridge, Tennessee, so as to rezone the property located at 3210 Ardian Trail, tax map number 168C-J-005, from R1 Residential District to C2 General Commercial District.
Thanks, sir. I will open up this public hearing. Mr. Howell, do you want to brief us on the details, and then I'll have the applicant come forward, and then we'll have opportunity for anyone in the audience in favor or opposed to, will have an opportunity to come and address the council. Yes, sir.
Yes, Mayor and Council. The stated purpose of this rezoning is to use the property as storage of school buses. The R1 residential district is intended to preserve neighborhoods comprised of single-family homes, to maintain a low-intensity development, and to focus on stability, ensuring quiet living environment. While the C2 commercial district accommodates a wide range of high-intensity commercial activities, these uses generate significant traffic, noise, lighting, and other operational impacts that are incompatible with residential areas. The introduction of a commercial use in a purely residential area poses significant issues. There are no other commercial properties nearby, and granting this request would create what is known as spot zoning, establishing an isolated commercial pocket within a residential zone. The approach contradicts sound land use and planning practices. The storage of multiple full-size school buses would be incompatible with the character of the surrounding neighborhood. These large vehicles, along with any associated traffic and operational nuisances, would fundamentally alter the subdivision design for low-traffic residential use. Rezoning would also set a precedent. It becomes increasingly difficult to deny similar requests in others. This cumulative effect could gradually undermine the stability of residential zones. The city's planning policies, particularly resolutions 3517, were adopted specifically to guard against this incremental erosion. The resolution provides guidelines for rezoning changes that increase the intensity of use and emphasize the preservation of residential integrity. The rezoning would contradict those principles outlined within resolution 3517.
Thanks, sir. Applicant, if you'd like to come forward, if you'll give us your name and your address for the record.
Yes, my name is Buddy Presley. I'm an attorney. I represent Tanya Floyd, 1384 Gun Barrel Road, Suite A, Chattanooga, Tennessee. I'm an attorney here in town.
Thanks, sir.
We have, this originally started, first of all, this, most people may already know, this activity here has been going on over 20 years there. There's been buses parked there for over 20 years. This started with a violation notice under the city code related to storage and parking of trailers and commercial vehicles. Says you can't have a commercial vehicle, not more than one commercial vehicle, which does not exceed 1.5 tons rated capacity per family living on the premises. Well, I'd tell you that for a Chevy 2500 HD Silverado would violate that ordinance if you were parking it in your driveway. But the Planning Commission had discussed, and I just heard it from Mr. Howell, that this is spot zoning. The case on spot zoning, Tennessee Supreme Court, 1983, Fallon versus Knox County Board of Commissioners. This is the law in Tennessee on spot zoning. This case has been around for a while, and this is what it says, and this is why this is not spot zoning, is that the law is well settled that spot zoning, as properly known and understood in spot zoning ordinances, as properly identified, are invalid on the general ground. They do not bear a substantial relationship to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare, and are out of harmony and conflict with the comprehensive zoning ordinance of a particular municipality. I provided the council with 2 letters from Hamilton County and from the Hamilton County School Board. The Hamilton County Emergency Services and Homeland Security and the Hamilton County School Board. These buses are used in East Ridge. These are not buses that are used in Ooltewah. And having these buses promotes the general welfare, health, safety of the community by having these buses close by and having them available for emergency situations. And so it's my contention that this is not spot zoning. The applicant, and primarily if you read the letters, it's clear that those buses, that these governments, Hamilton County and the Hamilton County School Board, want the buses available close by in the case of emergencies. And there have been emergency situations that have occurred many times over the years. And as I said, these buses have been there at this location over 20 years now. This is not something that just happened, that she just bought this house and decided to park buses there. Additionally, I provided, and this is more, to be quite honest, and I think City Attorney Litchford would probably say that, but is that there are numerous, I cited the fact that a 2500 HD Silverado would violate the ordinance. There's numerous violations of this already, and we believe, and this may not be the forum ultimately, that this is selective enforcement in this particular instance. I also provided a letter from numerous people that live in and around that community that support the fact that the buses are there. So we're asking, we'd be glad to, there be restrictions. I've numerous examples of restrictions with any rezonings, that those restrictions could be if the council wanted a privacy fence put up, or if they wanted it to only apply to the current owner, in the fact that if the property was sold, that the zoning would revert back to R1. But I believe that this is not spot zoning, and that this qualifies as approved rezoning, primarily because of the fact it relates to the health and the welfare and the protection of citizens of East Ridge. So we would ask that you approve the zoning change request at this time, and if there are any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
So I'll let, if there's no initial questions from council, I'm gonna go ahead and let the public come forward. So at this point in time, if there's anyone that is in favor or in opposition, now is your time to come forward and address the council. Yes, sir. If you'll give your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Phil Darling. I reside at 3211 Ardian Trail, directly across the street from the property in question. I was at the meeting last time, and we were informed that the reason we were having the hearing was in response to a complaint. And so the white on this paper represents everyone that I have talked to in the community. I live directly across the street, remember. The black dot you see represents the complaint. The majority of the people in that area have no problem with the school buses being parked there. The Floyds have spent countless dollars to make it aesthetically appeasing to the neighborhood. The second issue that I remember at that meeting was proposed. Well, can't they continue to operate their business should they move? Well, let's examine that. One, it would cost, they would lose the multiple thousands of dollars they have spent to get it to where it is today, to where they can park in there and where it looks nice for the neighborhood. That's one. Two, find a location for these buses. I'm not talking about parking them at a school that's unsecure. I'm not talking about parking in a church parking lot that's also unsecure. They would have to find a place large enough to place these vehicles in a fenced-in area that they would be secure, safe from vandalism. So factor that in. You're the business owner. That's what it's going to cost you. As Mr. Presley said, they have been parking these buses. I've lived there since 2009. These buses have been parked there, to my knowledge, since 2004. The dog was asleep for 20-some years. Somebody woke the dog up. I would ask you to respectfully consider making an exemption for these people and let Rover go back to sleep.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Yes, sir. Same thing. Name and address for the record, please.
You know me. My name is Ron
I know.
Renninger. I'm at 1105 Tamarack Trail. I am their next door neighbor. Actually, my bedroom window looks down on the property. Those are the nicest neighbors. They're the most courteous drivers and some best neighbors we've had in my neighborhood in many, many years, except this gentleman that just spoke. But we're very pleased with. They're good. They're easy to get along with. They're helpful to me. The Floyds several times have done things that really made a difference in my life, and I appreciate it, and I hope y'all would take that into consideration.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? I don't see anyone else. Council, do you have any questions at this time? If not, I'm going to close this public hearing and we'll move into the.
Questions?
Yes, sir.
All right. This probably be to Mr. Howe. Back when they were redoing the property up there and able to park the buses, did they get permits to do all of this? They didn't get no permits.
No, sir.
Okay, so that answered one of mine, because I was wanting to know if you all went back and inspected them with the knowledge of they were going to build this big lean-to there to park their buses under.
No, so the only inspections I've done up there was when the pool was installed, I believe it was.
Okay. That's the question I had.
Okay. Anyone else?
When the pool was installed, were all the buses already parked there?
To my knowledge, looking at, several mechanisms that we have available to us nowadays, being one, Google Earth and GIS, in 2010, January 23rd, 2012, January 24th, there were one school bus on that property. It's now migrated to 7 as of February 24th, 2025.
Any other questions?
I have one for the applicant. There are 7 buses there.
I think there were 5 in the picture.
Sure, there's 5.
Yeah, I think that's how many buses were there. I mean, I can verify that. This picture right here this is the actual picture of this is what it looks like there at Arden.
Sure. Do 5 or 7, do all of the drivers live at the premises there?
The drivers do not live on premises. Now, there's 2 drivers that live on premises because they live in the house, but the other drivers don't live.
So you have 2/5 of a fleet of drivers there. So in an event to mobilize buses for emergency services, we would have to wait for the rest of those drivers to get there, to mobilize those buses. Is that what you're saying?
If you weren't going to mobilize all 5 buses, you would have to wait for some of the drivers to get there. You would. Now, some of the drivers live close, but you'd have to wait for the drivers to get there. You would.
How close is close?
I don't know. I could ask. 5 minutes.
5 minutes? All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Otherwise, they would have to be parked conceptually. I mean, obviously, we heard it at the other meeting. You know, you could try to park them somewhere else. It's not as secure. If you parked them at the Hamilton County bus barn, you would be easily, trying to get to I-24, you might be 45 minutes trying to get there and then try to come back. These buses are used, I want to emphasize, these buses are used in East Ridge. These are not buses going to Collegedale.
Sure.
These are buses that are, in fact, the city, I may have been in my packet, maybe inadvertently, maybe not, that the city requests these buses frequently for events.
Are you talking about the bus depot over there on the corner of Dodds Avenue on 27th outside the
No,
Barton
I'm
College?
saying the city of East Ridge contracts with my clients to use these buses frequently.
Sure. What I'm saying is you mentioned the bus depot. I'm like referring to the bus depot that's on the corner of Dodds Avenue.
Oh, I don't know about that one. I know there's something out in Ooltewah, so.
Okay. I pass by it every day. It only takes me 8 minutes to get there through the tunnels. But, I mean, I don't think it's going to be a 45-minute trip.
Well, certainly not to Dodds Avenue. It's not 45 minutes. I agree with that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, did I hear, that 5, first, the city manager handed me this, and it shows there's 7 buses.
Okay, I haven't seen that picture.
So,
2024 aerial shows 7 buses.
Okay, I hadn't.
of the buses, how many did you say that the Floyds actually drive on every day? They drive.
They drive 5 buses every day.
They can't drive. They drive physically. You drive all 5 buses. Personally, how many do you drive? I understand, but you personally drive 1, and he drives 1. Okay, so then there is the other 3 that are outsourced for drivers.
She has other people that drive them.
That's correct. Okay.
She has a contract with Hamilton County
Right.
and the Hamilton County Department of Education.
Understand.
So,
Okay. Any other questions before I close? We still have another opportunity if we have others. Anyone in the audience like to come forward? It's the last opportunity. I see none. I'll close this public hearing and we'll actually go into the reading of the ordinance. 1224.
Ordinance 1224, an ordinance of the City Council for the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, to amend the zoning regulations and the zoning map of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, so as to rezone the property located at 3210 Ardean Trail, tax map number 168C-J-005, from R1 Residential District to C2 General Commercial District.
Thanks, sir. This will be first reading. I don't know, we need to go over the details again. Council, I will entertain a motion for ordinance number 1224.
I make a motion to deny ordinance number 1224.
Second.
We have a motion to deny by Councilmember Witt and a second by Vice Mayor Tyler. Do we have any discussion?
I would like to remind everybody that on February the 22nd, 2024, you can tell how old I am, Resolution 3517, it was passed unanimously. I think the only person up here that wasn't up here is Jeff. And it's to protect the integrity of the R1 zone single family. We have already denied some businesses to go into R1 single family areas. We need to be consistent in what we do. That is why I am wanting to deny this.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Yes, sir.
While you know that some have been denied, I know some have been accepted. And we're not really consistent in East Ridge on a lot of these things. When you bring up the code and what they highlight, you can drive around East Ridge and you're gonna have 500 people in here, because you can pretty much tell them they can't have what's written right here. The problem I got with this whole thing is, it's been going on for so many years, is that the city failed. There should have never been one bus, to be honest with you. Our codes don't allow for a bus, but they did. And it's been going on all this time. While I don't agree with rezoning to the general commercial, I would like to see this council discuss it further on some kind of a permit for whatever, and get a little bit deeper into this instead of just denying it.
And I agree with Jeff. The city did make a mistake. We should have done a better job of this, but we cannot continue to let it go on just because we made a mistake. We need to end it now and get into fixing what we need to fix. So,
Mr. Miller, this is a complaint-driven process. Do I understand that correctly? We do not go out and just look for enforcement opportunities?
Either one. We handle code enforcement handles complaints different ways. Number one, when they're out there in the field, they'll see something. Number two, they get a directive issued by my office, because I live in the city and I drive around the city everywhere I possibly can. Number three, from council members. 4, from residents that complain about a code enforcement violation.
Sure, and I think this probably
So
falls
those
under
are the
number
4 vehicles that will get code enforcement involved with a potential violation.
but technically, this doesn't have anything to do with complaint. This is just a request to rezone for us, right?
No.
She requested a rezoning?
Yes, but this all started with a complaint in regard to a section of the ordinance relative to vehicles and trucks and semis and buses on residential property.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is there any way that we can amend this to allow this by amending it to put some wording in there to state that they will be allowed to continue parking their buses there, but then if they ever sell the property, then it would be, then the violation would come back into hand? Maybe that's an attorney question.
Right, sort of basically we treat that as sort of a reverter provision in there, that to the extent that it transfers. I have researched and was not able to find per se a condition where upon a transfer, then generally when you have conditions, they run with the land. And so a condition would be one that says subject to X number of buses, subject to certain hours of operation, security and stuff, but not one where it's tied to the land ownership.
Well, I just noticed that none of the neighbors has got a complaint up there, except for, like the gentleman said, that one black dot. And then we've got all these pictures here, and I'm like Mr. Miller, I get out here and I ride around, and I see all these places. Well, for example, on Lazard Street, there's one place down there, I'll grant you, there's 20 cars parked there every night. They all live there. So 20 cars starting up in the morning time probably is no louder than 5 buses. So I just, if we can't pass the C2 for them, then let's amend this thing to where they will be grandfathered in till their buses are gone.
Or at least until she retires, it can't be
Yeah,
passed on.
well, that's the same thing, till her buses are gone, that's when she retires. Because there's a long history behind these buses. It starts with Pawpaw Floyd, down to Sun Floyd, and he passes, and then it's down to Miss Floyd, so there's a long history there. These buses have been parked in East Ridge, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that they have been parked out here, and they've been parked within a mile of each other. So there we go. You know, the buses have been here. Everybody knows they've been here. So I'm like the neighbors up there. I don't see any problem with them. And if we can't pass it for C2, well, then I'd like to see it amended to grandfather them in till she gets out of the business.
So, you want to mention it?
What's outstanding is the motion to deny. You can have a motion to amend. It's a little challenging considering it's a motion to deny here. You could, I don't know how you move to, you can try, I'm trying to think of a way, Councilman, for you to identify an amendment that
Counters the denial motion in a second.
You could, well, I guess you could try, say this, a motion to amend, the outstanding one is motion to deny, right? Which is to deny the requested rezoning. Trying to convert this grammatically into a manner that is acts in the affirmative, such that a motion to, okay, we can try the motion to amend that the denial would not, I don't know that you can do, I'm trying to get creative here, Councilman.
She can withdraw her.
She can withdraw, well, there's an outstanding motion is the problem. That motion has to be, you could make a motion to table, in which case it'd go to table if it passes. That's really what you're limited to, since there's the motion to withdraw, motion to deny.
One thing I want to point out that regardless of the outcome of this, this is not denying the continued use of the buses servicing our community. It's greatly appreciated and needed. It's only the what's before us about the zoning, what's driving it is the storage of the buses, not the service, not the quality of the service, because I hear it's great and it's needed. So I did want to make that statement. It's not that it's trying to end the business. It's not trying to shut the business down. It's just the physical storage of, and I'm not sure if there's any additional information on other locations. I know they said the bus barn, but.
Yeah, I don't know about other, what I do know, I know Councilman Cagle had asked me to contact the schools system, and I did. I talked to Mr. Allen, and his words were, there is space. And he also said he would ensure that they made space if it was available, and he said it is available. That was something Councilman Cagle asked me to do, and I did it. I asked Mr. Allen about, the timeliness of responses, and he said, they don't really have a time deadline. But he did, I said, I just want to make sure I do understand, could she find parking at the schools? And he said, yes. He said a few were available at the elementary, certainly at the high school. And so that's what Mr. Allen had said. Definitely Mr. Cagle was trying to find a help from Ms. Floyd, and so that's why I called and asked, and that's the answer I got.
I guess if you have a commercial vehicle that weighs almost 9,000 pounds, then you ought to park it at the school too.
I don't know what other commercial you're talking about. I'm not certain all Chevys are used for commercial activity.
Well, commercial plate on a 2500 HD.
And I would just say if there are those that are out there and it's a complaint-driven type of enforcement, put those in. In the city, there's 2 or 3 code enforcements. I think city manager will talk to them and see what he can do to try to get those mechanisms in place.
We'll state that, based on the size of certain vehicles, the county requires a commercial plate on it, even though if it's not used for commercial use and it's used for personal use. So just
I'm just
FYI,
reading the statute, that's all I'm doing.
just because there's a commercial plate on it doesn't mean it's a commercial vehicle.
You know, while this has been coming up, I've been doing a lot of research on it, and I run across a clause that said that any passenger van above 10 passenger, the driver is required to have a bus driver's license. So all these 10 passenger, 11 passenger, 12 passenger vans just sitting around East Ridge are all classified as buses, because they're allowed to have, they're required to have driver's license that classify them as bus drivers. So, and we've got those all over East Ridge. I just don't know how we're going to control them either, but, so Ms. Witt's motion is to deny the zoning of C2.
Yes.
Okay.
And we have a second by Vice Mayor Tyler.
So I'm one of the neighbors. Like, I'm not a neighbor, but I'm like the card. I'm the sea of white guy. To me, I wouldn't complain about this if I were the neighbor. To me, this would just not be something that I would send up to the city or I think is very important. However, I sit on the city council, and it's a little different. And I have to vote on this now. As a business owner, I paid 10% of my revenue to rent, to have my building and store all my equipment and keep it safe. I installed cameras in my restaurant, inside the beer cooler, the food cooler, looking at the bar register, my front door and my back door, anywhere I would lose money. And I probably spent $15,000 on that camera system and its implementation. And I probably saved myself hundreds of thousands of dollars from food being stolen from me or beer given away by my employees. So I can understand that there's gonna be hurdles to saving money and protecting your property, but that is the cost of doing business. There are places other than this house to store these buses. The case to be made that these are emergency vehicles and they need to be on the ready is not persuasive, particularly when the majority of the people who drive these buses do not live on property and have to be transported to the buses to get them in place. And I'm sure that Chief Usselton would provide a police escort to any driver that needs to get to where these buses are within the city limits, so that people can get there safely and then we can do what we gotta do to get these buses mobilized. Zoning this commercial just, to me, is an affront to the ordinance that Councilmember Witt had put. I was a huge proponent of this ordinance. Putting in an exemption for whatever time frame you have is a short time frame. The city's 104 years old. I make decisions based on 104 years of precedent and 104 years into the future. And my opinion is putting a commercial spot inside a residential area now can have an impact long after I'm off this council and long after I'm in the ground. And I don't think putting a commercial spot in the middle of this very nice neighborhood is a good idea. I think it's gonna set a bad precedent, as many others have said. And I think the best part of living in East Ridge is behind Ringgold Road. And the commercial should stay as close to Ringgold Road as possible. So, and I think if we put an exemption in, it's gonna open the floodgates for all these other examples that you have provided to us, for all of these people to now search and seek an exemption as well. And then that's gonna be, I don't know, food trucks, dump trucks, 18-wheelers, you name it. People are gonna come out of the woodworks for an exemption. while I said before that if I were one of these neighbors, I'd be out there in that crowd up on the microphone talking to this council, trying to talk some sort of sense into us. But that's not the way it is. I'm up here. And up here, I have to make decisions that are impacting the entire community, not just the one that I live in. So I don't think an exemption is the right way to go. I think I seconded the motion to deny because I think it should be denied. And I don't have any more comment, but I just do not see any reason to rezone this property or any reason to allow an exemption. That's my piece, Mayor. I think I'm about half of this.
Thank you, sir. All right, anything else? All right, I don't hear any other motion, I don't hear anything else, so roll call, Ms. Dietrich. No, it's over.
All right, now we're going to
Had an
vote.
opportunity and I opened it and I closed it. Yes, sir.
Yes is to deny, to deny.
A yes
Okay.
is to deny. Thank you for clarifying that. A vote yes is to deny the ordinance. Roll call, Ms. Dietrich.
Vice Mayor Tyler?
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle?
No.
Councilmember Ezell?
No.
Councilmember Witt?
Yes.
Mayor Williams?
Yes. Ordinance 1224 denied. We'll move to item C, ordinance number 1225.
An ordinance for the City Council for the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, setting the property tax rate for the year 2025 at the tax rate of .7993 per $100 of assessed valuation of real property within the corporate limits of the City of East Ridge.
Thanks, sir.
Looks like I'm up. Okay. Tonight we have first reading of the ordinance for both setting the tax rate, and then the next item on the agenda, 1226, will be adoption of the proposed 2025-2026 budget. We had a presentation of the proposed budget to the mayor and the council on May 8th, 2025. First reading will be tonight. Public hearings and second reading on both these ordinance, tax rate and budget, will be held at the regular business meeting of June 26, 2025, and that's been advertised or being in the midst of being advertised at this time. We received our certified tax rate last week. I was able to get that information in the agenda. It showed a substantial increase in our tax base assessment, and I'm talking substantial. We went from $554,211,764 was our commercial, residential, personal property assessed value for the City of East Ridge this past fiscal year. That went up to $866,646,222, an increase of $312,400 and some $1,000 increase, substantial. Our tax rate therefore went from 1.25, rolled it back to 0.7993. As reported in the Times Free Press the other day, our East Ridge's tax rate at 0.7993 is the lowest of all cities except for Lakesite and Walden. We are the lowest tax rate of all cities except for Walden and Lakesite. So if we look at, we knew we were going to increase, didn't know we were going to increase that substantially, but we did. Residential went up significantly from last fiscal year to this fiscal year due to reassessments. So we look at the property taxes that we generated in fiscal year 2024-2025 at $6,789,094. Under the new tax rate being rolled back, we will generate $6,788,564, $530 less than last year. So we're right on target, we're even, revenue neutral. We are proposing in this budget a tax rate of 0.7993. Keep it the same. General operating budget proposed for 2025-26 stands at $27,827,365. That's an increase of about $561,000 over and above our current fiscal year, which ends June 30th of this month. There are two changes that I would like to make. One change and then one direction. The change basically is in the general fund. We appropriated $275,000 for workers' compensation. If you can recall, at the last business meeting of May 22nd, we awarded the bid for workers' compensation to Key Risk instead of public entities partners, saving a cost of $134,749 lower. So I'm looking to take that savings of $134,749, and I propose that that be transferred to the Capital Improvement Fund and the other sources account in the general fund, thus bumping up our CIP fund from $500,000 transfer to $634,749. The second item I need direction from you, and this is in regard to the caravan service program. You don't have to give me a notice tonight. I just want to touch base on this because the final reading of the budget will be before you at the 26th meeting of June. We were able, with the assistance of Mike, I just lost his name. Chauncey, thank you. Mike Chauncey and Commissioner Sharp from the Red Bank area to push an amendment to the Hamilton County budget in the amount of $54,720 that was requested by Charles Frazier, who's the CEO of CARTA, for the caravan service program that both Red Bank and Eastridge have. I portioned it off. That would be $9,180 to Red Bank because they don't have the service numbers that we do. And Eastridge would receive an amount of $44,820. So what I'm looking at here is two options that we would be looking at. Right now, I have $100,000 appropriated in the budget for the caravan service, providing predominantly for medical, dental, dialysis. We cut out entertainment, jobs, shopping, basically shopping with Walmart and with the drugstores, Walgreens and CVS. They provide door-to-door service. Anyway, if we reduce the city's appropriations of $100,000 by $44,000 and just provide the trips for medical, dental, and dialysis only, or we can increase the city's appropriation of $100,000 in the amount of $44,820, which would give us just less than $150,000 and provide for all the anticipated trips without limiting the types of trips that there would be. So we need to vote on which way we want to go at the next council meeting in regard to what we want to do with that $44,820 that we will receive due to the efforts of Commissioner Chauncey and Sharp from Hamilton County. That's all I have. I would entertain any questions anybody has in regard to the tax rate staying the same and the budget.
I sent you my opinion today on the
Got it.
CARTA. Okay.
You want to state for the public?
I want to stay with what we're doing now.
So you want to increase the 100,000 to 144,000 to provide the same trips?
Yes, sir.
Does that include
Because
entertainment?
The way that we looked at it last time, there was the percentage was very little for entertainment, very little for this, for the ones that we cut out. So my opinion would be to
Okay,
same service,
okay.
$144,000.
So you're saying 100% service regardless where they want to go?
Well, they
The
have to go
pers-
within the,
Yep, yeah.
Yes.
I'm saying entertainment.
Yeah,
You're including all of that.
There was a very small percentage in the percentage breakdown that the majority of it was,
there was. The majority was your medical and your dental
Right.
and your dialysis. Those were the three important ones, yes.
you know, the reason why I don't want to cut out grocery stores and go to the drug stores, pick for that's the only place they'll have to go, you know?
Where's that?
The drugstore, other than the doctor's offices and stuff.
Well, your drugstores, both CVS and Walgreens,
Yeah, they all deliver,
they deliver.
but I enjoy going up there walking around behind Donna, looking at things too, you know, just to get out of the house. So, you know,
Okay.
So,
We're still at $50-something each way.
Right now, we are looking at, and it's gonna start in June because we ran out of money in May. The grant for Carter ran out of money in May. So we are increasing from $20 per trip or $40 round trip to $47 per trip and $94 round trip starting now. The next bill we have coming in for the month of May will be at the $47 per trip, $94 round trip basis.
so, let me ground ourselves, I think. We're talking about ordinance 1225, and that's setting the tax rate.
Right.
1226 is actually
I'm
the
sorry,
budget.
yes, we
That's
are
okay,
talking about
That's
tax
okay. So I do have a question about that, but I'm gonna defer it till we get to 1226 about the CARTA. But is there any discussion, and to your point, yes, we are the lowest, there's two lower than us, but they don't have city services. So we are the lowest municipality that has full city services in
Yes.
the county.
That's true.
And we have no desire, to my knowledge, that this council is gonna raise that rate. So, if there's no other discussion, I will entertain a motion for ordinance number 1225.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 1225.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Vice Mayor Tyler and a second by Councilmember Witt. Do we have any discussion? I see none. Roll call, Ms. Dietrich.
Vice Mayor Tyler,
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle,
yes,
Councilmember Azell,
Yes.
Councilmember Witt, Mayor Williams.
Yes, ordinance number 1225 approved. First reading, we'll move to item D, ordinance number 1226.
An ordinance of the City Council for the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, making and fixing the annual appropriations of the several departments for the city of fiscal year beginning July 1, 2025 and ending June 30, 2026.
All right, this is first reading. I think we covered a lot of this, and that's great. We don't have to cover it now, unless you have anything else to add.
I have nothing more to add, Mayor. Thank you.
The only comment, well, I'm not gonna break my own rule, or the Roberts rule. I'll entertain a motion for ordinance number 1226.
I make a motion to approve ordinance number 1226.
Second.
Have a motion to approve by Councilmember Witt and a second by Vice Mayor Tyler. Do we have any discussion?
We want to hear what you got.
Well, I try to go last always. So, I definitely appreciate the hard work that the two commissioners did, Sharp and Chauncey, especially Chauncey on our, representing us for their, able to get some funds for this. I do feel that it is a need, and I agree with Councilmember Cagle and probably everyone up here that we think it's beneficial and we want to continue it. I don't want it to get abused. I don't know if entertainment is an item that we could strike or not, and we can talk about this in the second reading, but I definitely think, and I agree with Councilman Cagle, not everybody even has the capability of ordering. Some of the older people ordering and having it delivered. I know they provide it, but, so I think there is a need to go to pharmacies and potentially grocery stores, but I think there was also some entertainment, and I've actually physically and not looking, happened to be out and see a Cardivan doing that very same thing, taking someone for entertainment purposes. And that's not what, I don't know, my opinion. Anyway, I'll hush. That's my only comment, but we can adjust that at second reading, correct? Is what you're asking for us to discuss it?
Right.
Okay.
You mentioned the drugstore and the grocery store. A lot of those are in the same building,
Mhm.
Food City, you know?
Food City and Walmart, I
Yeah,
believe.
Walmart.
Mhm.
So you can make one trip.
But a lot of people are like me. I don't use Food City or Walmart.
Yeah, exactly.
Drugstore.
Some people, based on their insurance, could be
That's right.
required to go to a different place.
That's right.
That's correct.
Well, I mean, I'd like to see it continue. I'd like to see the program
Absolutely.
get a haircut. I mean, it's good for medical purposes and getting people there, but there are other options for getting to the grocery store. ARTA is a private company, and this is rent-sinking behavior from them getting more money. And I appreciate the county commissioners for their allowance that they've given to this program. I don't think that's any need for us to loosen our belt. You know, if we got to operate a tighter budget next year because everything's going to increase, we're going to be looking at giving this thing another haircut. Medical, good. Entertainment, I'm not a big fan of. The other category, if you will.
Right.
I think there was like 9% of that. You know, when I look at my own budget, I don't go right after my power bill or my grocery bill. I go after going to Starbucks or eating breakfast at McDonald's. And to me, cutting off the entertainment's the same thing as not going to Starbucks every day or eating breakfast at Jack's every morning, which I love Jack's breakfast.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? All right, we got a motion to approve a second.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Mayor, just for FYI, looking at the trip purposes for fiscal year '25, not the full year, we had shopping at 22, general at 9, medical at 17, entertainment at 10, employment at 24, and dialysis at 18.
Entertainment 10 and general 9. Do we know what general, that's 19%.
I'm just reading what.
I understand.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But if you could cut 19% off of your expenditures for your own business or your own household expenses, you'd probably do it
Well,
in a manner of saving money.
when you look at the trip purposes for fiscal year '23, entertainment was 35, '24, it reduced to 13, and in '25, it reduced to 10.
And that's probably because there are other options.
Either that or they passed away, they're so old.
That's true. I didn't think of that yet.
They went to nursing homes.
Guys. Okay.
All right, I digress. So, no other discussions, roll call, Ms. Dietrich.
Vice Mayor Tyler,
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle,
Yes.
Councilmember Ezell,
Yes.
Councilmember Witt,
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes, ordinance number 1226 passed first reading. We'll move to item E, ordinance number 1227.
An ordinance to the City Council for the City of East Ridge, Tennessee to amend Title 17 Refuse and Trash Disposal, Chapter 1, Section 122 of the East Ridge Municipal Code to increase the sanitation special assessment.
Sir, Mr. Miller.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, the, the primary revenue stream for the solid waste management, or what we refer to as a sanitation budget, is the sanitation assessment fee for both residential and commercial. That sits at about 90%, 90 to 91%. The current base assessment fees at the present time are $180 per year for residential and $240 per year for commercial. That is the base assessment fee. If you have more than one can, then it increases for both residential and commercial, $60 a year more. The proposed sanitation operating budget for the upcoming year calculates a shortfall in revenues to cover the anticipated expenditures by approximately $250,000. The dominant factors in the increase in these expenditures are as follows. You can recall last year we had to get involved with the disposal of waste at the transfer station. We bid that out and the lowest bid was at $43.75 per ton. That increased $10.75 a ton. For 800 tons per month, times 12 months in a year, goes up to over 96,000 tons. You're looking at an increase of $103,200 annually we had to pay for that. We did receive 3 bids on this. The lowest bid was $43.75. The highest bid was $53. That's $9.25 more. So you can tell that the waste at the transfer station is no longer a cheap service. It's one that we have to pay for now. Increase in the salaries and fringe benefits went up $43,155. An increase in appropriation for truck repairs and maintenance, $37,500. And we need to acquire a new refuse truck. This is a replacement of a rear end loader to the fleet, and we're looking at a 5-year capital note on that. So that we have to appropriate $57,204 for that. So what we're looking at is an increase to close that gap between the revenues and the anticipated revenues and the proposed expenditures. I'm proposing that we increase the base assessment fee $2 a month or $24 a year. So for residential, we're looking at going from $15 per month to $17 per month, or a total per year $180 to $204 per year. That'd be for residential. For commercial, $20 per month to $22 per month. That would be $240 per year, up to $264 for commercial. And you have in your agenda backup a history of the sanitation assessments that have been going on over the years, going all the way back to 2003. And we also have we have a fee increase information to show what we're doing now versus what we'd be looking at doing with the proposal of the $2 increase per month. And then lastly, I have a notice to property owners at the last council meeting. Councilman Cagle requested some information on what the cost would be to get involved with notification. We did some checking on this. If we did a postcard, the lowest quote was from Glow Mail on a 5x7 postcard to be sent out in the amount of $4,180.85. That covers printing, postage, mail service, and delivery of the postcards to the post office. If we did a letter, quote from Glow Mail, again lower, was $7,311.86. This fee covers printing, postage, folding, stuffing envelopes, mail service, and delivery to the post office. If we don't go with either postcard or the letter, then we would revert back to what we usually do is we would notify through social media, utilization of city's website, and mass media releases that we would get involved with. So I would need your direction on that, and I would need it at least now, if I could, because the second reading is on the 26th, and you don't want to send notices out on the 27th, because the effective date on this is July 1st.
So the majority, the 40% rental houses, that postcard, it's going to that house, correct?
It goes to the residential house, yes.
It ain't going to the owner of it.
No, going to the house, going to the address of
We
where.
waste a lot of money doing that, because a lot of owners, they wouldn't see it.
Is it going to the address of where it is, or is it going to where the address is on the property card where the property tax is being mailed to?
Can you help me out on that
Yeah,
one?
it would go to what is listed as the property owner,
Of the property owner?
Yes.
Not the renter?
not the renter, the
Okay.
property owner.
Okay.
So so that answers your question. It could go to Utah or wherever, whoever owns it.
See, the other aspect on this too, I've done some digging on. A lot of people do not get their tax bills. I don't get my tax bill. My tax bill is sent to my mortgage company. The only thing I get is a notice from the county what my assessed value is. A lot of people have mortgages. Those tax bills are sent directly to the mortgage company for payment. A lot of residents don't see it.
Yeah, if you've got it escrowed, then it goes to the bank.
Exactly. If you had, most people have the mortgage with their escrow, as well as their insurance, and as well as their property taxes. It's all, you don't see that tax bill coming in, right to the mortgage company.
Well, we got the cart before the horse. We don't have a motion in a second. So let me go ahead and get a motion on ordinance number 1227.
I make a motion to approve ordinance number 1227.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Witt and a second by Vice Mayor Tyler. Sorry, I was asleep at the wheel and didn't. I understand and respect the notification for the citizens of an increase. But at 4,000 and 7,000, and some of these are gonna may be seen, may not seen because of escrowing. And it's a $24 increase. I don't know, that's a lot of money for that. And it's like, we don't send notifications if we raised our property tax to everyone. And that's
No, you don't, but you have to have a special public hearing if we did do that.
correct,
That's the only requirement by law.
correct.
And let's be honest, the owner, the 40% that we don't know, they're just gonna raise the rent. They don't care. They're not gonna argue $2 trash can because somebody else is paying them to live there.
Yeah, they pass it on.
Would it be cheaper if you just set up a public hearing and if people wanna come, they come, and if they don't, they don't?
Public hearing would be next.
Public hearing is, the public hearing for the budget and the tax rate and everything is, you see it on the tentative. It's
Enough?
decision for the council. We wanna invest that. You don't need the answer today, you need the answer by next council meeting, correct? Mr. Miller, on the mailing, or you need it tonight
Well,
because of,
At the next, it's kind of hard because if we send them out the day after second reading, we've already approved second reading because this is supposed to go into effect July 1st. That'd be Thursday, Friday, and then Monday's July 1st.
y'all weigh in here. I think this was not a discussion on whether we're doing it or not. It's whether we were gonna send a notification. So
Right.
the notification can follow after the approval of the budget, in my opinion, unless y'all disagree.
My preference for the notification is press release and social media for, cheap, cost-effective, broadcasted. I'm like Councilman Cagle. I think everybody should be notified. I think that's a great idea, but spending $7-8 grand to let everybody know.
We're spending $4 grand.
You do a postcard, $4 grand.
$4 grand for a postcard. I mean, still.
$7 grand for a letter.
I think social media is free, press release is free. I think I'd rather just go with that option.
And we've got a public hearing for them to come in.
And we may have, paper will have it covered as well.
The newspaper, yeah.
Had to throw that in there.
I think what Mr. Cagle was referring to also though is the senior citizens, like my mother would never make it here. And,
Right.
we have a lot of those in East Ridge. East Ridge is an old community, and a lot of people been here a long time, and they don't have social media or nothing. I understand that. A little skeptical on the $4,000 to send them a postcard, not knowing if they're gonna get it or not also. So that's a little tough one there, but I understand what he's talking about.
I agree.
People are not even gonna know it.
I know.
Do I get a consensus?
I'm
Need it.
familiar with the postcard. So,
Do we need a motion? Do we need to just do a straw man? Do we want to do on the delivery of a notification?
I thought he could spend up to 10,000.
Oh, well, I guess you could spend it, okay.
I'm sorry?
You could do the postcard without council approval.
True.
So.
Good
just
point.
If you want, why don't you just take a straw poll here from the members of the council to give guidance to Mr. Miller.
Okay, you're a yes for $4,000 for a postcard.
For the $4,000 postcard.
Press release.
Press release.
I'm on the fence. I can't make my mind up. We just have so many people that won't get press release. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I hear you.
But then again, we got 40% that's probably not gonna give a rat's.
Yeah.
Just kinda out there.
No, but answer to that is the landlord's gonna get it. I mean, the one that's collecting the rent.
That's what I'm talking about.
And then when they go talk to the renter, then they're gonna find out when the rent goes up. So, but you're right there. It's gonna go up on the rent because the property owner don't care. So it's still gonna be, each letter is going to each house.
Do we have email to these people, the property?
No.
No.
Just ask.
No.
Well, you
My
might.
mama don't
You'd be
have email.
surprised.
I promise you.
You'd be surprised.
But you wouldn't get email through to me because I've got trouble with my email.
I leave my
I can
vote to
check.
let Mr. Miller decide since he don't need our approval no way.
Well then, Brian.
What's your feeling?
It's awful lot of money, social media.
I'm sorry?
Social media.
Okay.
When we're trying to cut the budget and keep it trim. If it was more than $2 a month, then I would have more concerns.
That's why I pushed it kept it at
I know,
$2 a month.
keep it minimal.
I looked at 3 and I looked at 4, it just didn't work out for me. So I went with 2.
All right.
Okay.
You got what you need, I think.
Yep.
So,
I'm
any
done.
other discussion on ordinance number 1227, the budget? No, the trash disposal.
Just a vote.
I see none. Roll call, Ms. Dietrich.
Vice Mayor Tyler,
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Azell,
Yes.
Councilmember Witt,
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Ordinance number 1227 approved. First reading. We'll move to item F, ordinance number 1228.
An ordinance to City Council for the City of East Ridge, Tennessee to amend the fiscal year 2025 operating budget ordinance number 1206 by changing the revenues and expenditures of various funds.
Sir, Ms. Qualls.
Okay, this is our final budget amendment of the year. And as you can see, I went in and I did revenues for the general fund. Showed where we have committed money that comes from the fund balance, like we've had to pay $1 million on a fire truck. We had to, and you'll see it at solid waste, we have had to, the general fund has had to supplement the, sanitation because the cost, even with what we estimated it to be for the sanitation landfill cost, it has been more than that because we have more residents and we've got more garbage. So, and then we've had a lot of repair bills this year, so we had to help them out. We did have some new things come in, as you can see, like the state did a special thing on bonuses for retention for police officers. That was income we didn't expect. And then they had another one for, I can't remember which one it was for, but there was another one for 24. Yeah. And then if you notice, interest has gone up. Oh. So we've increased our interest. And then you see the different expenditures of different departments that I'm having to increase on. In recreation sports, we had so many more kids signed up. We ended up going over in many of those because of officials and uniforms. We had to do some repairs at City Hall. There's just different things. So it's $596,700 that I'm amending. Then in the grant fund, we just had to show where we received grant funds and then where those grant funds we expended back out. Solid waste, you'll see where we increased. That we did 250 and then we increased those expenditures to go with it. Capital Projects Fund, again, interest is, we've earned, I think we'll go more, we right now have $168,000 we earned in interest in our capital improvement fund. And then, but you'll see where you've got where the different things that have happened that we've had to increase. And the only other one is the ARP, where I just had to move money to the animal shelter. Now remember, it doesn't have any revenue. It is a fund balance that we will finish out before December 31st of this year. We have to spend it. If we don't spend it, I have to give it back to the government. Those are the ones we're doing.
Thank you, ma'am. Council, I'll entertain a motion for ordinance number 1228.
I make a motion to approve ordinance number 1228.
Second.
Have a motion to approve by Councilmember Witt and a second by Vice Mayor Tyler. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, Ms. Dietrich.
Vice Mayor Tyler,
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle,
Yes.
Councilmember Ezell,
Yes.
Councilmember Witt, Mayor Williams.
Yes. Ordinance number 1228 approved first reading. We'll move to item G, resolution number 3693.
A resolution of the East Ridge City Council memorializing an appointment by Councilmember Andrea Witt to fill an unexpired term on the East Ridge Beer Board.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Witt.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Josh Walker. He effectively resigned May the 15th of 2025 because he moved out of the city. And with his resignation, I am going to appoint Janet Middleton, welcome her back into the fold. She has experience on the beer board, and she will serve out the rest of his term until November 26, 2026. Thank you, Janet, and she's in the audience.
Thank you, ma'am. Council, I'll entertain a motion for resolution number 3693.
I make a motion to approve resolution 3693 for the memorialization of this appointment.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Vice Mayor Tyler and a second by Councilmember Ezell. Do you have any discussion? See none. Roll call, Ms. Dietrich.
Vice Mayor Tyler,
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle,
Yes.
Councilmember Ezell,
Yes.
Councilmember Witt,
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Resolution number 3693 approved. Memorializing Ms. Middleton, thank you for your service, future service, and as well, thank Josh Walker for his service on the beer board. All right, we'll move to item H, resolution number 3694.
A resolution of the East Ridge City Council authorizing the mayor to enter into an easement agreement with Hamilton County Water and Wastewater Treatment Authority relative to a 30-foot easement located at 905 Yale Street, tax map number 169C-C-001.
Thank you, sir, and back to you.
Mayor, Council, this again is kind of completing what, really completing what was started in 2007, but what you all did, or excuse me, 2008 is when this really originated. Back, what was it, a couple months ago, you approved the easement relative to the Park Ridge. This is now an easement agreement with respect to the easement itself already exists due to the plat that was recorded a year ago on July 10, 2024. This is merely just laying out the obligations and responsibilities between the parties relative to the easement, and specifically to the extent that there's any work to be done on it, anything that's going to be to bring the road. Yale Street ends. They already, I think, enter that area right now anyway, don't they? Yeah. This is just simply turning over the maintenance of that to the easement holder, which in this case would be WWTA. And so they would be the one that would have any maintenance and repair of it.
Thank you, sir. Council, I'll entertain a motion for resolution number 3694.
Make a motion to approve resolution number 3694.
Second.
Have a motion to approve by Councilmember Witt and a second by Vice Mayor Tyler. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, Ms. Dietrich.
Vice Mayor Tyler,
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle,
Yes.
Councilmember Ezell,
Yes.
Councilmember Witt,
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes, resolution number 3694 approved. That is the last item we have on the agenda, so we'll move to the tentative agenda for June 26, 2025. Item A didn't pass first reading, so that one will be stricken. So we will then move into item B, a public hearing for ordinance number 1225. That ordinance is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of East Ridge setting the property tax rate for year 2025 at a rate of 0.7993 for $100 of assessed valuation from the real property within the corporate City of East Ridge, Tennessee. This will be second and final reading. Covered this previously. Is there any additional questions? Seeing none, the next one is a public hearing for ordinance number 1226 and the actual ordinance. The ordinance of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, making and fixing annual appropriations of the several departments of the city for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2025 and ending June 30, 2026. This will be second and final reading. Any additional comments? Mr. Miller, any questions? Other than we need to discuss the CARTA?
Caravan
Caravan.
program, yes, sir.
Yep, so, all right. Then the next item is a public hearing and then for ordinance number 1227, which is the ordinance of the City Council of the City of East Ridge to amend Title 17, Refuge and Trash Disposal, Chapter 1, Section 122 of the East Ridge Municipal Code to increase the sanitation special assessment. Second final reading. Any questions, council, on that? See none, the next item is ordinance number 1228, ordinance of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, to amend the fiscal year 2025 operating budget. Ordinance number 1206 by changing the revenues and expenditures of various funds. This would be second and final reading as well. Any additional comments, questions? See none. Then under new business is unnumbered resolution, approval of bids for masonry sand for the Parks and Rec Department.
Yeah, this is just our annual bid that we put out for sand to be delivered to the city for use in our field maintenance.
Thanks, sir. Council, any questions?
Yes, sir. Have we sent out the bid for the street department sand?
I haven't seen the street department going out on their materials yet.
Okay, well, I just wondered why we couldn't do the same bid for the,
I think this is masonry sand, different than the other type of sand we use.
okay.
Any other questions? I see none. Then the next item is an unnumbered resolution, approval of maintenance agreement for train for the East Ridge Animal Shelter.
Okay, Train is the system that we put into the East Ridge Animal Shelter. We are looking at October to be the end of the 1-year warranty, and I want to get Train on a 5-year maintenance agreement to keep this system operating effectively and efficiently.
Thank you, sir. Council, any questions?
Now, is this just for them to come out and service the thing once a year?
I think it's more than once a year. They service several times a year in regard to the winterization as well as the AC summer.
So it's more than just coming out and cleaning the hair out of the filters and, because that's a lot of money for yearly service.
That's a very delicate system that we have into that system over there. I mean, you've got like 5 or so zones, and we're gonna make sure that they're all operating correctly and effectively at all times. We've had problems in the past with the HVAC contractor where the cat room has gotten too warm, where the cats were almost falling over, and the dogs the same way. We're gonna make sure that we have proper airflow at all times. We almost carry maybe at least a 50 to a 75% load of dogs and cats a lot of the time.
So this is gonna be plus whatever it needs to correct their problem?
Yes, if we have to, yeah.
It's gonna be plus,
Plus parts.
Yeah, plus parts.
So.
Not after 1 year.
Not after 1 year. So
No,
looking.
Once it expires in October.
So, I would like to ask, city manager, on page 2 of 15 at the top here, second paragraph, under this service agreement, Train will schedule and manage preventive maintenance and provide regular repair coverage to help you minimize unplanned downtime and avoid unexpected expenses. I quickly scanned through this. I did not see that schedule. To Councilman Cagle's point, could we get a little more detail on how often, how many times, what
Yeah.
the schedule is, and the preventive maintenance that they provide.
Yes?
Thank you, sir. Any other questions, council?
Is the concrete work and everything on John Ross Road, is that what they're doing to prepare for the paving?
Sorry?
The work on John Ross right now, where they're chipping out all the concrete around some of the manholes and repouring concrete, is that part of our paving of John Ross?
That is part of the contract with John Ross, and that will probably be on the next council meeting because we have an overage on that. I know, old boys are right.
That's not associated with any of the slip lining they're doing, or is that John Ross project?
Part of it is part of that, what they're doing down there is the slip lining and the manhole,
That might be WWTA doing
that's
some of that.
WWTA work that's being done.
Yeah.
That's not the contract on,
Yeah.
on John Ross. We have another concern. I might as well bring it up because it's going to be on the next council meeting.
You can. Let me ask a quick question.
I'm sorry.
No. I'm gonna go back to the animal shelter and this maintenance for the train.
Yeah.
Did we get all the issues resolved with the HVAC system down there? Because I was down there months ago and there were issues with zones and not cooling and issues with, I think they've got it resolved, but
I believe
before we
they
enter
have-
into this maintenance
have-
contract, before we end the year, I wanna know if this has been resolved and it's working properly. That's not a good answer. That's not a good answer. We need to get close before the year runs out. Or not close, we need to get spot on. Okay. Okay, because I knew there was ongoing issues.
Yeah, we're.
Thank you. All right, go ahead.
Okay, as you're aware, we threw the bid out at the last time because it wasn't technically correct with some of the amendments that we're making and some of the assurances that were made in the bid per the state. So we rebid the project. We received one bid from, I guess, contractor that did Ringgold Road. Tally. Tally was the only one that submitted. Their bid is about $149,000 or $147,000 over bid what we appropriated for this project. We had $500-some thousand, I believe, appropriated for the project. Bid came in $150-some thousand or $140-some thousand more. If we decide not to do it, then the state will cancel the contract. We have got to pay the state back any money that they have reimbursed the city of Eastridge, plus we are going to have to pay for the engineering costs out of our pocket that they've already been paid for. So I'm looking at a way that we can come up with the additional $149,000 and we can get this project done and awarded and get it completed and get reimbursed from the state. As if we drop the project, we're gonna have to pay back the state, we're gonna have to pay back the engineers who drafted the plans. And I don't wanna be put in a position to do that. John Ross Road isn't gonna get any cheaper. This has been on our records. This was on our rolls to be done or worked on back when I retired in 2018. So we finally got this far on it and I'd like to get it completed. So I'll have a recommendation at the next council meeting as to how we're gonna fund that gap.
And this paving goes from?
This goes from Ringgold Road all the way down to the Chattanooga's line.
Crest, right in there.
Not all the way to Crest, right before you get to Crest.
Sunset or whatever they
Something like that, yes.
Right there at Closed Road.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Where?
Closed Road, it
Yes.
Across the street.
Yes.
Sun.
We were hoping,
depends
the
on
last,
which side of the street you're on. If one
yes,
side's
I
here,
know,
if
from
one
that
side's
point to
here.
Crest, it's
Yeah.
half the street. We're hoping that Chattanooga will complete that from our portion where we stop all the way to Crest.
And what did you say the difference was, $144,000?
147, 149,000.
Okay, didn't you speak of a minute ago that we needed to take $144,000 over here and put back into the capital fund because we
Workers'
switched the
comp.
insurance.
For the capital fund, yeah, but see where, okay. The money going to the capital fund is gonna go to resurfacing. This is resurfacing.
Okay, so we're gonna have, this new 144,000 couldn't cover that 144,000?
Yes,
That's the part of it.
Yeah, I think that's where he's going.
that's where I'm going with it.
Okay,
It's going into the CIP, but once it goes into the CIP, it will be designated to one of the accounts, and the account I'm gonna
Wanna
put
make
it
sure
in
we had it.
is road resurfacing.
yeah, okay.
Yep.
Anything else? Any other agenda items we should add? All right, thanks everyone for attending.